They say that laughter is the closest distance between two people. With that in mind, let me tell you about a plaque that I saw the other day in a pastor's office. It said this on the plaque: "If you have the joy of Jesus, please notify your face." I grew up in Washington, D.C., and one of my favorite things then and now when I go back is going to the Smithsonian Institution. If you haven't done it, do it, because it is one of our great things that we have in this nation, and there is no charge for going there. You could spend days, you could spend weeks in the Smithsonian. In the Smithsonian Institution, in one of the glass cases, is a fur coat with a story. It is the fur coat of Marian Anderson, the great singer. It was her dream to buy the fur coat, and over her lifetime, she realized that dream and she bought that coat. Well, there was another fan of hers at the time who never thought that she could do what Marian Anderson did, but she looked and she listened. She read articles about her and she dreamed herself. You know what her name was? Her name, Mahalia Jackson. In the early 1950s, she found herself before a sellout crowd at Carnegie Hall. She said later on that she stood there gazing out from behind the curtain, gazing out at the thousands of men and women that were in the audience. And she said, here I was, behind that curtain. I was standing there, and I was just a washerwoman and a baby nurse. She said as she stood there before that crowd, she wondered if she would even be able to utter a note. What was she questioned in that moment, to stand before this crowd? Who was she? To stand there thinking that she had the power of Marian Anderson, Lily Pons, Caruso, who had all stood there on that stage before. She stood there behind that curtain and she said, after all, I'm just a washerwoman and a baby nurse. And then she was reminded again, thank goodness, she was reminded again that she was not just standing there as a baby nurse and a washerwoman. She was not just standing there as a flesh and bones person, but she was standing there as you and I stand before our mountains in life, standing there with the presence of God infilling her. And the presence of God could bless through her. She just had to be willing. She had to go forward and be willing. Well, she said she opened her mouth and nothing came out. And she opened her mouth again and the first note didn't come out as the music played. But here's the difference. She kept going. And that is a powerful lesson for us too. We have to keep going. There will be many times in our life where we will be so nervous that the first note won't come out. But that is a real deciding point in a human being. If the human being feels they're alone, just a baby nurse and a washerwoman, they'll walk away, they'll give up, and they'll say, well, at least I tried. But she didn't. She didn't walk off stage. She realized in that moment that God would come through her. And she also realized, which is great wisdom, if she would walk off stage, if she would give up, well, the human in her would think about that for the rest of her life. Mahalia knew that God could do it. Mahalia knew that God did it through the others and that God was willing to do it through her. She opened her mouth again. And this time, notes came out. A little shaky at first, but they came out. And then they got stronger and stronger, and the audience got stronger as it got excited. The beat picked up, and people were clapping and screaming, and they were jumping out of their seats. She was, what many say now, the greatest voice of all time. Mahalia was asked many times during her career to go to places such as Las Vegas, and not to sing religious, but to sing jazz. One time she was offered a lot of money to do just that, but she always refused. She said, "I am a gospel singer. I am on stage for one reason, and that is to bring God to people, because I would be nothing but a baby nurse and a washerwoman if it wasn't for the presence of God coming through me." My friends, when Mahalia died in 1972, her funeral was attended by so many that the Greater Salem Baptist Church in Chicago had to hold the service at Chicago's McCormick Place Convention Center. I've been there. I've been to auto shows there, and it is a huge place. 40,000 people came to her funeral. On her tombstone, this is what is written: "Apart from Christ, there is no explanation for such a life." God bless you.